Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. I'm Anil Thomas. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi names Chandrayaan-3's landing point Shiv Shakti. Also declares 23rd August as National Space Day.
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा।
Prime Minister Modi greets women scientists of India's space agency in Bengaluru, lauds them for their key role in the success of Chandrayaan-3.
He has asked, he was asking whether women can be there in the science and technology as maths padhte hai ya science padhte hai. So here we are all are engineers. Yeah.
Hundreds of protesters at French military base in Niger's capital threaten to storm the facility if troops don't depart. Indian shuttler HS Prannoy to face Thailand's Kunvalat with its son in the semi-final of the BWF World Championships. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Bengaluru to personally congratulate the team behind Chandrayaan-3's successful landing, calling it a new dawn for India. The visit follows his 4-day tour of South Africa for the BRICS summit and a meeting with his counterpart in Greece.
On arrival to the Indian Space Research Organisation Centre in Bengaluru, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met its chief S. Somnath and other Indian scientists to personally congratulate them on the historic success of the Chandrayaan-3 mission. A big announcement then stemmed from the huge achievement, with PM Modi declaring the day of the landing as National Space Day.
23 अगस्त को जब भारत ने चंद्रमा पर तिरंगा फहराया, उस दिन को अब हिंदुस्तान नेशनल स्पेस डे के रूप में मनाया जाएगा।
In recognition of the female scientists behind the landing, Prime Minister Modi also revealed the spot where Chandrayaan-3 landed will be called as Shiv Shakti.
जिस स्थान पर चंद्रयान-3 का मून लैंडर उतरा है, अब उस पॉइंट को शिव शक्ति के नाम से जाना जाएगा।
The word describes the two powerful energy principles of masculinity and femininity within the cosmic spiral, inspiring the generations to use science for the welfare of people.
शिव में मानवता के कल्याण का संकल्प समाहित है और शक्ति से हमें उन संकल्पों को पूरा करने का सामर्थ्य मिलता है।
The Prime Minister also announced that the point on the moon where its predecessor Chandrayaan-2 left its footprint back in 2019 to be known as the Tiranga Point.
चंद्रमा के जिस स्थान पर चंद्रयान-2 ने अपने पदचिन्ह छोड़े हैं, वो पॉइंट अब तिरंगा कहलाएगा।
Scientists involved with the mission gifted Prime Minister a small replica of the Vikram lander and the first photos sent by the lander on the moon's surface. The historic landing makes India the fourth nation to carry out a soft landing on the lunar surface and the first nation to reach the moon's unexplored south pole. It is a move PM Modi says has allowed the Make in India initiative to go not only global but also universal. Proving in this case the sky is in fact not the limit. DD India's report.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi met women scientists who played a key role in the success of India's Chandrayaan-3 mission. The women scientists were excited after their interaction with the Prime Minister on the success of ISRO's Chandrayaan-3 moon mission. Let's listen in.
Absolutely motivating, not only for us scientists, but for each and every person in the country. The failures are the stepping stones to success. He in fact, he has appropriately named the first point where we have touched. And based on the lessons learned from this, today we have very gloriously landed the Chandrayaan-3 on this precise point.
A really exciting and very motivating address our Honorable Prime Minister has given us. Really thankful to him.
We are very much excited to see him here and motivate us to do more work and contribute to this nation.
Despite his hectic schedules, has found time to address and inspire and motivate us. And in fact, this Nari Shakti, yes, Nari and men make the whole world as a whole.
What inspired me the most was how much he's really looking forward to the youth of India to come up in, not just in the space segment, how he really wants youth to come up in various sectors.
It's really a team effort, and we have all of us have so much of passion and enthusiasm towards this work, and because of all our team's dedication, this is the grand success.
Modi ji has asked, he was asking whether women can be there in the science and technology as maths padhte hai ya science padhte hai. So here we are all
are
engineers. Yeah.
He has given name to where we landed, so it's very a happy moment for all.
There is no difference. There is no difference between, once we enter office, we don't feel that we are a man or we are a woman or what you belong, what you speak or what you follow. We work hand in hand. We are one. And we all work for the nation and for the humanity.
The chairman of the Indian Space Research Organization spoke exclusively to DD India's Aisha Khanam. S. Somnath lauded the name chosen by Prime Minister Narendra Modi for Chandrayaan-3's landing site, adding that Prime Minister's encouragement gives great strength to the space agency team.
Significant, do you think, this naming of these two important landing sites, what does it mean to India?
इस दोनों का नाम में an Indianness है, भारतीयत्व है, so ये तो important है, तो it doesn't look like an Anglican word, so it's very important. So both has its own naming and it has very flavor of the Indian naming, so that's very important.
How do you look at the speech, inspiring the scientists, because he always talks never give up and he appreciates the determination of the scientists.
See, all of us realize when you face a failure, there is always the morale goes down, there is a depression, the public sees us critically, government sees us critically, but when you have working very hard even in spite of all of this, I think that requires a lot of tenacity, the courage internal to the organization. And I need to, like people like me, my previous chairman, they have to keep the morale of the organization very high so that we don't lose and still continue the work. And as a government organization, it's very difficult. It's very important to keep the morale high for an organization like this. And I think he realizes it and he understood it. Because in a scientific organization, keeping morale high to deliver high quality good, it comes out of the passion. It doesn't come out of payment or salary. It doesn't come out of the remuneration. It comes out of simply the hard work and passion that we are creating internally for doing wonderful things. I think he saluted that.
Yes, absolutely. And he also gave you responsibility to organize a hackathon at the national level.
Yes, we should do that because he has been a person who wanted to look at space to be useful for different ministries, department, governments, which we had a meeting in 2015 where we organized all of this. Then later, we worked on it for last many years and completed almost 100 plus projects on delivering some services to different ministries and departments. And now he tells that youngsters and young people, students, has to get into and create innovative idea in space sector and expand it. So the hackathon will definitely help towards that.
Well, earlier the Indian Prime Minister held a roadshow on his way to ISRO's telemetry tracking and command control complex in Bengaluru. Prime Minister Modi met the scientists involved in the Chandrayaan mission. Prime Minister Modi emphasized the importance of the mission during a public address using the slogan Jai Vigyan, Jai Anusandhan, which salutes the contribution of science and research.
ये समय मुझे यहाँ उद्बोधन का नहीं है, क्योंकि मेरा मन उन वैज्ञानिकों के पास पहुंचने के लिए बहुत उत्सुक है। लेकिन मैं आपका धन्यवाद करता हूं कि बेंगलुरु के नागरिकों ने अभी भी उस पल को उमंग और उत्साह से जी करके दिखा रहे हैं।
The Indian Space Research Organization say the rover's movement are all going to plan. It successfully traversed a distance of 8 meters so far. The rover payloads, laser-induced breakdown spectroscope and alpha particle X-ray spectrometer are turned on. All payloads on the propulsion module, lander module and rover are performing nominally. Earlier, ISRO also released a video showing the Chandrayaan-3 rover exploring the moon's surface. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi delivered a special video message for the G20 Cultural Ministers Meet, which is underway in India's northern city of Varanasi in Uttar Pradesh. He spoke about building India's national museum, which will be called Yuge Yugen Bharat. He said that this will stand as the world's largest museum, showcasing India's history and culture spanning over 5,000 years.
Also building the Yuge Yugen Bharat National Museum. Once completed, it will stand as the world's largest museum. It will showcase India's history and culture spanning over 5,000 years.
The G20 Cultural Ministers meeting has begun in Uttar Pradesh's Varanasi. The meeting is a culmination of all the previous meetings and discussions of India's G20 Culture Working Group. The meeting will focus on the global narrative for inclusive growth. Union Culture Minister of India G. Kishan Reddy also participated in the gathering, where he said the Varanasi cultural meetings have created an opportunity to discuss multi-dimensional global relations related to the cultural sector.
We have tried to capture the spirit of our collective vision. Through our combined wisdom and shared, we can transform the challenges that lie before us into opportunities for cultural progress globally. Today, we are equally proud to launch the report consolidating the best practices as the insights from global thematic webinars titled G20 Culture, Shaping the Global Narrative for Inclusive Growth.
Well, lots more coming up on DD India Live. Hundreds of protesters gathered in front of the French military base in Niger's capital, threatening to storm the facility if troops don't depart within a week. 12 people killed in a stampede in the national stadium of East African island nation, Madagascar.
We are joined by India's top-notch tennis player Rohan Bopanna. Played at the biggest level of tennis and Grand Slam.
Fabulous journey, 20 years of representing India, playing Davis Cup.
Playing some of the amazing tennis in 2023 at the age of 43.
There are a good group of youngsters coming in, so if I step down, there will be another Indian taking my spot.
You're watching DD India Live. I'm Anil Thomas. Well, moving to international stories, Niger's junta has ordered the French ambassador to leave the country within 48 hours. Hundreds of protesters gathered in front of the French military base in its capital Niamey on Friday. Protesters are threatening to storm the facility if French troops don't depart the West African nation within a week. The continued protests are a sign of further deterioration in relations between the coup leaders and the West. Niger has strategic significance as one of the world's biggest producers of uranium and as a base for French, US and other troops that are helping to fight Islamic militant groups in the region. Meanwhile, the West African Bloc President Omar Touré said that they are trying to find a peaceful solution to the crisis in Niger. He said they only activated a full-scale application of sanctions against Niger's military rulers, including the possible use of force.
The region is employing other elements of its instruments and engaging with the military authorities. We are hopeful that these diplomatic efforts will yield the desired outcome and make it unnecessary for the deployment of the force. Nonetheless, preparations continue towards making the force ready for deployment.
Well, joining us on the story is DD India's Isaac Lukando from Tanzania. Isaac, do you see the possibility of this deadline, being given at this point of time to French, being extended to other countries too, the Germans, the US, also being asked to leave Niger?
Well, at the moment, it's just focus is just on the French. They've been asked to leave, and they have responded as a government, saying that the military junta there does not have the authority to ask its ambassador to leave, and instead it would be a constitutionally elected government there that would have the authority to ask its ambassador to leave. So it seems like the French are putting their feet down and holding their stance in the hopes that this might blow over, but it's already turning a leaf on an already volatile situation, and it's only to see what will happen when the deadline within a week expires. We know that, for example, the Americans have not been issued a similar order for its ambassador to leave there, but it seems like they are on high alert after this particular incident.
What kind of a pressure is now there on the ECOWAS, considering the dilemma that Niger faces altogether?
Yes, there's a lot of pressure on ECOWAS to prove that it is a strong force within the region of Western and Central Africa. For example, when the Nigerian president got elected, one of the promises that he made was that people in West Africa would see a stronger ECOWAS, and the fact that there had been many coups is something that irked him, and he wanted to see less of those incidences happening. And so there's a lot of pressure on ECOWAS to deliver on that promise. Just this week, Niger was suspended from the AU, okay. But it doesn't seem to have done much in terms of rattling the military junta there. And so the dilemma for ECOWAS still remains, because on the one hand, they want to see an end to constant coups in the region, but at the same time, they don't want to see bloodshed on a grand scale.
Well, thank you. That is DD India's Isaac Lukando joining us from Tanzania. Moving forward, in Madagascar's national stadium, 12 people have been killed in a stampede. Madagascar's Prime Minister said that the accident occurred when a number of sports fans tried to enter the national stadium for the opening ceremony of the Indian Ocean Island Games. Around 80 people were injured, out of which 11 continue to remain in critical condition. Well, tensions are flaring between China and Japan over the release of nuclear wastewater from the site of the wrecked Fukushima nuclear power plant. Beijing has implemented a ban on all Japanese seafood over the decision by Tokyo to begin the discharge. Japan has criticized China for not understanding the science behind the plan. Chris Gilbert reports from Tokyo.
Well, Japan is asking China for understanding. Effectively, the whole government, the Chief Cabinet Secretary, the Ministry of Energy, Trade and Industry, and the Prime Minister have all said that it is regrettable that China, as they see it, does not understand the science behind the discharge, and they are very open to communicating and, as they say, gain understanding about the science and the concluded safety of the water discharge. China has not expressed that it is open to that explanation or understanding. It has always been opposed to the water release. It had said that it would take countermeasures if the water release went ahead, and that is what we have seen so far in this blanket import ban on all Japanese seafood. It had a long-standing import ban on several parts of Japan, but now it is the whole country, including Hokkaido, which usually exports luxury sea cucumbers and scallops to China, all the way down to Okinawa in the very southwest. Parts of the country which have nothing to do with the discharge of Fukushima, and so the Fisheries Co-op is very concerned and has asked the government to request that China lift the ban. The government has complained to Beijing at a G20 meeting in Jaipur already. It is yet to be seen if this is going to become a long-term diplomatic issue. They already have territorial disputes over the Senkaku Islands, and experts believe that the wastewater issue could become a proxy for China to vent its political frustrations with Tokyo well into the future. Chris Gilbert in Tokyo, reporting for DD India.
Meanwhile, China has urged Japan to stop releasing the nuclear contaminated water into the sea.
So far, Japan failed to address the major concerns of the international community about the long-term reliability of nuclear contaminated water, purification devices, the authenticity and accuracy of nuclear contaminated water data, and the sophistication and validity of the discharge monitoring program. China and other stakeholders have repeatedly pointed out that if the nuclear contaminated water is safe, then there is no need to discharge it into the sea. If it is not safe, it should not be discharged.
Hawaiian authorities have released the names of 338 people still missing more than 2 weeks after the deadly wildfires tore through the region. More than 1,000 were previously unaccounted for, with locals demanding search efforts to ramp up. The death toll of the Hawaii stands at 115, but officials warn that the figure is likely to rise.
We know since releasing it that we have had hundreds of contacts come in. And that's great news for those that come off the list, and it's heartbreaking for those that don't. And so it is a double-edged sword. We knew that, but we want to make sure we're giving everybody every chance to help get through this.
Now some other stories from around the world. Russia has reported a new drone attack on Moscow in the early hours on Saturday. The mayor of Moscow said that a drone was brought down by air defense systems over the Istra district. Although the attacks have not caused extensive damage, their intensity has forced the Russian authorities to temporarily shut down 3 major airports serving the capital. Venezuela's National Assembly named loyalist Elvis Amorosa as the head of the National Electoral Council. Amorosa, who was sanctioned by the US, spent 5 years as head of the Comptroller General Office, which oversees the use of public assets. Amorosa's selection comes as Washington said it is prepared to ease sanctions against Venezuela, but only if President Nicolas Maduro takes concrete steps towards free elections. Former US President Donald Trump's Georgia mugshot elicited an interesting response from US President Joe Biden on Friday. The president commented on his predecessor's appearance, calling him a handsome guy. An unsmiling Trump was captured glaring at the camera in the mugshot, which was released late on Thursday. Back home, at least 9 people were killed in a fire in the Punalur-Madurai Express in India's southern state of Tamil Nadu. The train coach caught fire when members of a private party used illegally smuggled gas cylinder to make tea. The private party carried 65 passengers from Lucknow. 55 people have been rescued so far and the rescue operation is still underway. An ex gratia of $12,000 has been announced to the family of the deceased and a detailed investigation has been launched. The Chief Minister of India's central state of Madhya Pradesh has expanded his cabinet. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has inducted 3 BJP MLAs as ministers just months ahead of the state assembly elections. The newly inducted ministers include Gauri Shankar Bisen, Rajendra Shukla and Rahul Singh Lodi. India's Law and Justice Minister Arjun Ram Meghwal launched the Tele-Law 2.0 on Friday that integrates the use of communication for the delivery of legal information and the Nyay Bandhu app to ensure access to justice in New Delhi. This will enable citizens to access legal advice, assistance and representation through a single registration and single gateway of Tele-Law. The minister said this kind of integration stands as a testament to the commitment to nurture a digitally literate and empowered populace. On sports news, top Indian shuttler HS Prannoy will face Thailand's Kunlulat Viditsan in the men's singles semi-final of the BWF World Championship later today in Denmark's Copenhagen. 9th-seed Prannoy came from a game down to stun defending champion and top seed Victor Alexen of Denmark to reach the semi-final. With this, Prannoy has assured India a medal at this year's Marquee badminton event. The Indian shuttler defeated the home favourite in 3 games, 13-21, 21-15, 21-16 in the quarter-final match that lasted for an hour and 8 minutes on court number 1 of the Royal Arena. India's R. Pragyanand has reached a new high in the latest chess world rankings. The 18-year-old has jumped 9 places to achieve a career high 20th rank in the world. Also, he has become India's new number 3 behind his Chennai mates D. Gukesh and mentor Vishwanathan Anand. As per the latest ratings, the Chennai boy has jumped 9 places. It has taken his rating points to 27.2 ELO ratings. On his way up, he's pipped Harikrishna Pentela and Vidit Gujarati to become the 3rd highest ranked Indian. Prag gained a total of 20.2 points from his fabulous performance in the classical format of the FIDE World Cup. He garnered a maximum of 5 points for defeating David Navarra of Czech Republic, while adding 3.8 points for playing out a draw with Carlsen in the first 2 classical games of the final. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I am Anil Thomas. From all of us here in New Delhi, thanks for watching DD India Live.